Monster Hunter animated show on Netflix. Oh, it is Alatreon.
Hey J Review.
Welcome to another Hey J Review and another Monster Hunter video at that. What a surprise. It's almost like this channel has been invaded over the past year. Now, I want to forewarn you, this entire video is my full thoughts of Legends of the Guild, the Monster Hunter film on Netflix, and it is full of spoilers. So if you don't want to know anything at all about this, or even how I feel about this, because I will express a lot of emotions, positive, negative emotions. I will even share some details that you might regret hearing if you're watching this first. So just stop watching now. You've seen me, we've connected. Go watch the show and come back. Now, if you've done that, or if you've already watched it, let's talk about Legends of the Guild and how it lives up as a Monster Hunter film. And more specifically, you know what? It's really just my impressions. I'm not here to be the judge of like, oh, this is a very fine piece of film, or oh, this is how it compares against the real live action Monster Hunter movie, because I haven't even seen that one, so I can't tell you that. I also don't even know half the characters I didn't even know that some of the characters in Legends of the Guild were references to other characters in other Monster Hunter games. So honestly, I am probably the least qualified to tell you anything about this movie, but I can certainly tell you what I thought about it. So let's get started with just my initial impression of it. You know, this year, Monster Hunter, I'm just soaking it up. I'm just like, give me some Monster Hunter World, give me some Rise, give me some stories. And now an animated show, I was just like, it's just lining up so great. I was really excited for this. My first disappointment, though, was the fact that it was a movie and not an anime, like a TV show. Lately, I don't know. I don't like the movie format anymore. I just don't enjoy watching movies like I used to. I'd rather have a story that's more fleshed out. The characters are more developed in a TV format where you can really, like, you know, bite into it. Like, it's a story told over 10 hours instead of a story told over an hour or two. And I really think this show could have benefited from having that thing fleshed out, because Legends of the Guild is a 1 hour film, and its probably its biggest issue is its pacing. Like, in terms of pacing, it just sucks. It's constantly like, okay, we're going here now, we're doing this now, we're doing this now. You know that person? Yep, they're dead now. Everything is just so bam, bam, bam. You just like, I'm like, am I really watching a film about Monster Hunter, or am I watching like a concept of what a film could be? Like, there are some scenes that really have a good potential, and this show is like, not the show, this film is like, this could really work, but there's just parts that feels like it's rushed and not fleshed out. And it's I don't want to say it's like a bunch of cutscenes mashed together in a YouTube video, but it's not that far from that feeling. So that's a lot of negative criticism right out of the bat, but I'm going to stand by it because I really think the pacing sucked on it. The animation of it was pretty good. Like, this is the style that I like and that I would want to watch any kind of Monster Hunter content. It's like kind of stylized, cartoony, realistic. I don't know how to describe it, but it's good. The animation sometimes felt a little rough around the edges, specifically when I noticed the lip sync or the lip movement in the beginning. I was like, oh, is this native like Japanese or something? And no, it was just the talking and the lips were not quite on, like did not sync up. Like, I actually went to the audio menu. I was like, should I be watching this in English or another language? And as I watched it more, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess they did try to sync everything to English. They didn't do a great job at it. They did a good job, but not a great job. Like, it was enough for me to be like, is this the native language of this film? And at least as far as I could tell, it was made for English. So animation was like a little wonky, but now let's talk about the good stuff. Right from the get-go, like the way this is presented, it speaks to me as someone who has started Monster Hunter as a fifth leader, as everyone seems to call people who start with Monster Hunter World. You're starting off and you're right on the boat, like just before where Monster Hunter World takes place. And I'm like, oh, Sears Antler, oh, Aiden, oh, that other person, I'm not sure what their name is. And I was like, okay, like, this is all nostalgia. Like, this was my entry point into Monster Hunter. I'm remembering being on that boat and we're going after the big turtle. And now, like, Aiden's all like, you want to know a real story or something like that. And we learned the story of how Aiden became a hunter. And so that setup's weird, because now I'm like, okay, we're in this world, we're in this setting, I get it. And then pretty much the next 10, 15 minutes, it's just like if I was doing this, if you're a seasoned hunter, you're probably going like, ugh, every 5 seconds of like, oh, that's that monster. Oh, that's a reference to this. Oh my God, that's a hammer. That's a switch axe. And like, you're pretty much just nerding out of like, oh, they put that in there. Oh, that armor is there. And it is so true to like the Monster Hunter, universe. Just all the cameos are very, very well done. Like the nods of, oh yeah, this is what you would see in a game. Like it just ties so well, which I think reinforces the point that Monster Hunter could be a good TV show if this concept was just polished off a little bit, because it needs a little bit of polish. So in terms of the story, like I was okay with the story. It's very Monster Hunter. Oh, there is a village happening, or there is a village in being threatened by a monster. We must stop it. I do feel that if we did do a TV show, like the whole guild thing could be like fleshed out so much. And I talked about this, or we talked about this on the Third Fleet podcast a little bit, how we'd love to learn more about the lore behind the guild. Like we get introduced to, I think it's Julius. I think that's a character from like another Monster Hunter game I haven't played. And he's all got all this like guild like mystery. Like as someone who doesn't know him, I'm just like, I want to know more about this guy. And he keeps like nodding to things that happen. And maybe you guys know all this, but I don't. And I'm just like, I want to know more about that. I want to know what's going on. And I just want to understand more like how the guild intertwines with the villages, like who's the leaders of the guild, what do they do, how do you actually get access to be like, how do you become a guild member? There's just so much stuff I would want to know, and I think that would make for a really good structure of a TV show. So anyway, Julius gets introduced. He's cool, dual blade user, very cool. And then Aiden, the comedic, there's a lot of like comedic beats that are just perfect, like for this animated style. Good comedic beats, so many puns. I'm starting to feel like Monster Hunter and puns just go together, and I'm here for it. Like it was a little hard to do this intro with the Alatreon joke, which I took from the show, from the film, but it's, I don't know, it puts like a little bit of a guilty smile every time I hear a pun in this game. So I like that, or not in the game, in the film. See, they blend. So I really like that. Then we get introduced to Nadia, which I think Nadia is also another character. So, okay, here's maybe the twist that I did not expect. I did not know that any of these characters appeared in games outside of Aiden. So I thought these were all unique characters. So we get introduced to Julius, we get introduced to Nadia, we get introduced to Ravi and May. I was like, I love all these characters. These are good characters. I'd love to learn more about these characters. Well, we will not be learning more about Ravi and May because this film does not let your hunters cart, and I was not ready for that. Like there was a little bit of foreshadowing with Ravi talking about like, would you give up your life for this? And he shows up and I'm like, oh yeah, we got our switch axe user, and he did not cart. He came under a Lunastra like flame, and Ravi was gone. He was dust in the wind. Like it kind of hit me. I'm like, oh my God, they're killing people. Woo. How are they gonna kill? And then freaking May, which is probably one of my favorite characters, despite being an insect glaive user, they're fighting it, and I was not ready, and I was not seeing this coming. And she's just like, oh no, my bug's like, she's taking on Lunastra one-on-one, and the bug gets beat, and she's like, well, I guess we got to do what we got to do. And it's all like, oh, this is gonna be her moment. Panned off screen, she got like bit or eaten. Like they basically like shot to like Lunastra basically like about to munch down on her, and then they just like panned off screen and they're like, yep, she's dead now. And everyone just like, well, let's keep doing things. And I'm like, can we have a moment? Can we just pause for a moment? You just killed off like two characters. Like Ravi got a little bit of a send off where he's like, holding the ground, he's looking at the camera, and then he goes on fire. But May didn't even get a death scene. She just got we can't afford to animate her anymore. Let's just kill her off and cut off screen, and she's no longer part of it. And I was not ready for all this death. I'm like, Monster Hunter, you cart, you don't die. And here we are dying. Like Aiden took a full Fatalis flare and he didn't die. So that didn't sit well with me. And then the story conclusion did not sit well with me either. So Lunastra is attacking a village, and then a little like noob hunter or wannabe hunter convinces a guild hunter to stand together and to actually fight off the Lunastra instead of dispersing and evacuating the village, which is kind of a foolish idea when you think about it. A village can be rebuilt, people cannot, so get the people out of there. And so they're fighting this thing, people are dying, and Aiden, the main character's main like solution to everything, as like people are dying and things are just going bad, is to open the dam and flood the village. So just before he floods it, Lunastra like does like one of those like big implosion things, you know, the thing that kills you in the game, fries half the village. Aiden floods the other like remaining half of what's left. So we got like a quarter village left, and everyone's like, yeah, good job, we did good. Yeah, the Lunastra is dead, and we like saved a whole like 5 out of 50 people, and everyone's like, good job, totally worth it. Glad we listened to the kid who wasn't even a hunter. Like, it's just such like poor writing, and Monster Hunter is not known for story, but the game still conveys something a little bit more exciting and interesting than this. Like, the trailer for this was well set up. The trailer was like, this is going to be an epic tale. We got Lunastra, we got all these references, we're in an animated show, and the delivery, like, I was excited to watch this film. Damn it, I keep saying it wrong. And by the end of it, I was like, I did not enjoy that. I am a fan of Monster Hunter, and I did not enjoy that. And I want my time back. I'm glad like it was an hour. If it was 2 hours, I probably would have been more upset. But my feedback on this is pretty much take the concept, take what you did, and polish it. It's a really good concept, but it needs some polish. It needs a little bit better writing, a little bit of finessing on the animation, and way more character development, and slower, like just stretch it out, slower pacing. Let us connect with the characters, let us feel things, let us get excited instead of just being there as like scenes go by. So let me know what you thought if you've well, I hope you've watched Legends of the Guild, because otherwise I just pretty much spoiled all of it for you. But let me know what you thought. Despite my criticism, you know, I did like the references. I think that was what I love the most, just going like all the time. And I think this really shows what an animated show could be. And I really hope that from this, we get more. Legends of the Guild is a really good title, and it suggests that we could get stories, like infinite stories about the guild and about people, hunters as part of the guild. So I would love to see this fleshed out more. I'm all here for it. If they do another one, of course I will watch it. But this first one was a little bit rough. So I'll see you on the next AJ review. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. And until then, until the next video, keep it classy.